Hi, I'm Christy with Capstone, here to give you some weekly hints and tips to help you with your job search. Today I want to talk to you about how to partner effectively with a recruiter or a recruiting agency that you may be working with, like Capstone. Looking for a job really can be a full-time job in and of itself, and so having a recruiter looking and searching on your behalf can be really beneficial. Some other ways that having a recruiter in your corner can be beneficial is that recruiters typically have exposure to a lot of different types of jobs at a lot of different companies. Plus, typically, recruiters will also have direct relationships with hiring managers, whereas you may be finding jobs on the internet or finding jobs on companies' websites. It really helps to be working with somebody that has the relationship with the person who's actually going to hire you for the job. When you're going to work with recruiters, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. First, organization is key. It's really important that you keep documentation of which jobs you've been represented for and what company is representing you if you're working with more than one company or more than one recruiter. I think the best way to do that is when you are working with a recruiter, have them send you the specific job description and then just make note of who you're working with on that, any notes about the hiring manager that you have, or any notes about the company or the submission process. And I would also have documentation for any rate or salary that you all have talked about. It's also really important that you keep control of where your resume is going. Here at Capstone, we use an exclusive representation document. So before we ever submit a resume or ever represent a candidate at a particular company, that candidate gets a statement or a document with the name of the company in writing, as well as the salary or the rate that we've discussed. And then we get written authorization before the submission is ever made. And I think it's really important, even if you're not working with companies who use that in their day-to-day practice, that you request that so that your resume never goes out without you knowing. That way you can avoid any kind of duplicate submittals. You don't have one company sending your resume to a certain company with your authorization and another company just sending it without talking to you about it. So organization is really key. I think communication is really important as well. When you are deciding what recruiter to work with or what recruiters that you want to represent you, I think at least a phone conversation, but if you can get a face-to-face meeting with that recruiter, here at Capstone, that's part of our typical procedure, is that we would meet with somebody face-to-face. I think it's important to make sure that you know who's representing you, that you're comfortable with that you understand the process, and anytime you can meet face-to-face with a recruiter before they represent you, I think that is great. And also the follow-up communication. Recruiters do get very busy, and I think it is their responsibility to communicate with candidates about where their resume is and where they are in the process, but take the initiative as a candidate to follow up with your recruiter as well. Check in, see if there's anything new. Another thing I would encourage you to do is that if you find an open position out on the internet or on somebody's website, call the recruiter that you're working with and see if they have a personal relationship with the hiring manager or any connections or any contacts that can make it a little bit easier for you to be considered and ultimately hired for that job. That's going to be a whole lot more effective than just sending a resume in through a portal or through the internet where you may not have any relationships. Definitely connect with your recruiter on LinkedIn. That's a great way to connect with that person, but also have exposure to their network of other recruiters or hiring managers that may be able to help you in your job search. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you have more questions, feel free to contact us here at Capstone, 972-818-4433, and you can keep in touch with the jobs that we have and see what new jobs we have on our website, capstoneinc.com.